Man, it felt really good to shine again, after all these years.
And it was very important for us to go out on a strong note the last few years of our career. And lo and behold, it happened at TNA.
And I was like, oh my God, I want to make somebody feel like he made me feel someday. I think that was the moment, man. I knew that pro wrestling is what I was going to do.
He talked to us and he said, hey, would you guys be up for doing something if we all did the turn? And I believe in Joe Hendry, I believe in Matt Hardy, I believe in Jeff Hardy. This soul has been tracking through all these different vessels, all these different bodies, and like you're aware of where your soul has been.
I didn't know what in the world, it would become what it was.
We were trying to tell stories in a different way.
I just remember looking down and then looking back at where I was about to jump and oh my God, this really might be the end of my career.
TNA really has a ton of momentum right now, and myself and Jeff were very happy to be part of it.
Rewind, recap, relive. For over 50 episodes, the revolutionary force in wrestling interview.
My guests today are two absolute legends in the wrestling world. Most recently, they captured the TNA World Tag Team titles at Bound for Glory for the third time in their illustrious careers. Please welcome Matt and Jeff, the Hardys.
Thanks, man. Thank you for having me.
Of course. No, it's a pleasure to have you both on the show, really. And like I said, congratulations on successful Bound for Glory. And first off, I'd just love to hear how it feels holding these tag titles at this point in your career. Matt, I'll go to you first. What does that feel like?
It's something that was very important to us. We were unhappy with the last couple of years about how we were utilized and how our careers were going, and it was very important for us to go out on a strong note the last few years of our career, and we wanted to start that with a really strong World Tag Team title run, and lo and behold, it happened at TNA. So we're very grateful for it.
How about you, Jeff? Do you resonate with that?
Yeah, for sure. I'd said the day before that it was either going to be the end of my career or another resurrection of my career, and for sure, 100%, it was another resurrection of my profession because man, it felt really good to shine again, after all these years, especially like when my personal issues kind of delayed our runs in pro wrestling. So it feels good to like believe in myself again, and TNA for believing in me is just I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah, no, that's huge. And I know a lot of fans are happy to see you guys climb that and get the belts. Another part of that match that was so unique was the design. And Jeff, we were talking a little bit before we went on, but I'd love to hear the process that went into painting all those and how that actually came about because it was so unique.
Yeah, I just pitched the idea to Tommy Dreamer, man, and he liked it. And I knew it was going to be a lot of work. And then I told him like 7 tables. Yeah, I asked for like 10 ladders at first, but they only got like, 5 or 6. And then 8 chairs, I think it was. And the canvas was the big job. I hung it by myself and painted it all by myself over the course of 10 days. And I time-lapsed it all on my Instagram. So, yeah, I'm super proud of that to see it, to bring it to life. And Matt came up with the reimagined idea, which fit perfectly. And hopefully, who knows, we might do another Full Metal Mayhem reimagined before it's all said and done.
And I really have to stress, like Jeff went so above and beyond and in the creation of all this amazing artwork on all of the inanimate objects we were using for the match. The fact that he painted that canvas, it took 10 days. And like he did say, he did a time lapse of all the videos. He worked so hard on it and he's so passionate about it. And just the whole feel and the vibe when you see the canvas and you see those tables that are lined up and like together 4 tables make an image, 3 tables make an image. It just all the amazing work he did really added a sensational feel to the whole gravity of the match.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's definitely like a different element. And you're right, those tables that were leaned, I didn't even know they were tables at first. I thought it was so cool how it blended in.
It did. It looked like a stage, right?
It totally did. But so I want to shift now. TNA is returning for the first time since 2011 to Fayetteville, and on November 8th and 9th. I'd love to hear, as champions, what kind of energy you guys are going to come into your home state with now. Jeff, I'll go to you first.
Oh man, this building in Fayetteville was the building our dad used to take myself and Matt to see all the wrestling. And I think WWE, WWF only came there one time. It was mainly NWA, but that's the building that I'll be in this Friday and Saturday, where I reached out. I was 12 years old and Sting came to the ring, neon green tights, cool painted face, blonde hair. And I touched his shoulder and I was like, oh my God, I want to make somebody feel like he made me feel someday. And that, I think that was the moment, man. I knew that pro wrestling is what I was going to do.
Yeah, the very first wrestling event we saw in the arena we'll be in on Friday and Saturday was a WWF show, and the main event was Andre the Giant versus Big John Studd. That was the first wrestling match our dad ever took us to. So that was pretty amazing. And then, as my brother said, we saw so many NWA/WCW events there, and seeing Sting, seeing Lex Luger, so many guys that were our heroes as we were coming up. It's really special, and it's really special that we're going back there in a major promotion and we get to headline that arena. It's very, very cool.
That's really special. Yeah, wow. I love that story, Jeff, too, of Sting. It's really cool. Well, that the only thing we didn't see Full Metal Mayhem just during Bound for Glory weekend. We saw you, Jeff, and Joe Hendry the night after, I believe, in a great concert. I've seen some footage of this. Can you share what it was like to be able to share your love of music with Joe?
Man, the first time before I even knew I was going to be heading back to TNA, I saw Joe Hendry playing the guitar and I watched, and I was like, "Oh my God, this guy is going to be a big star. He's got it going on." And now that I'm back in TNA, I'm pretty much got to know everybody there, and I love the locker room. I love everything about it. Man, naturally, I'm super excited to do one or two songs with Joe Hendry, like original songs, and actually perform them. But being out there, we didn't rehearse that one time. He just figured out, I think, two different chords to play to my original TNA theme, Modest. And we went through it briefly in the back and the sound check, hardly anything. We didn't rehearse at all, but like we just went out there and did it. And it was tough. Like, injuries are
Yeah.
terribly scary. And after what happened, to go out there and still do the concert. But yeah, naturally, I want to do that again and do a JH and JH original song.
Yeah. And so you said you sung Modest, which I know a bunch of definitely OG TNA fans were so happy to hear you sing. As someone who's such a music lover and who has had some amazing theme songs throughout your career, where does Modest rank on that list of themes for you?
As far as original music, man, it's right behind Obsolete. I would say. And the exciting thing about Modest, and there was this album with like 6 tracks on it that I put out my second run in TNA. I think it might have been yeah. And I want to redo all those songs and re-sing them because they're going to be so much better. Because I have evolved as a singer like big time, and just the way I've been singing Modest now to this instrumental track, man, it's going to be on a different level, man. And it's still, I'm so excited to get that done, just to like put out the evolution of my singing and how it's improved over the years.
I'm excited to hear it. And you both made a great entrance alongside Joe Hendry not long ago. Matt, I'd love to hear how that experience was for you, and also just any thoughts on what Joe's been able to do in TNA.
One of the things that is so beautiful about Joe Hendry is that he is someone who loves wrestling. He is someone who is very dedicated to the craft, and he also is super optimistic. His optimism reminds me of my optimism in many, many ways. I tell people all the time, like, I'm the ultimate optimist, and I feel like Joe is like that too. He just says like, "Oh, there's something I want to do. I'm going to work towards this goal, and I'm going to try and accomplish it. Try and accomplish it." And he's done that many, many times over. He talked to us and he said, "Hey, would you guys be up for doing something if we could team up where we did a video wall and we all did the turn? And I believe in Joe Hendry, I believe in Matt Hardy, I believe in Jeff Hardy." And I was like, "Oh my God, that'd be epic. We would love to do that," because I feel like our status as legends helps Joe, but also Joe being an organically hot, current modern babyface that is just people just genuinely love. It helps us as well to stay relevant. So it's very much a mutual admiration society working with him, and it was great. Filming the green screens for those and doing the entrance, everything was great. He is so great to work with and collaborate with, and we're hoping to do more with Joe Henry in the future, and I think we will.
Yeah. Oh, well, can't wait to see it. But that's awesome to hear the inside of that, because that entrance was phenomenal. Yeah, the music video,
Yeah.
everything was so entertaining.
Yeah.
Well, for you both, some of your best creative work over the years has come out of TNA. And Jeff, I'd love to go to you first. As such a beloved personality over the years, it was really cool, I thought, to see your dark side come out with Immortal when you were world champ then. How did you enjoy kind of trying a different side of the Jeff Hardy character and having that freedom to test it out?
Oh, I love it, man. And I naturally, man, the Immortal thing and the Antichrist, all that stuff was so exciting and scary at the time. But like when I got into it, I was enjoying it, man. It was fun, and to do it now, I mean, the way my life is now, the way I am now, would be so much better than it was before. And I think it might even like strike a in between type of chord with the wrestling fans because it might be, you hate this guy, but we kind of love him at the same time. Oh my God, what is wrong with Jeff?
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, me and the fact that I've got sober again and stayed sober, it's super exciting at what for what's possible, man. Because I think it would be great to eventually bring the Antichrist of pro wrestling back.
Yeah.
And I would just like to add on to that too. Like I remember when Jeff stepped into that and was the Antichrist of pro wrestling and TNA and a heel and a bad guy. Like Jeff, my brother may be the most popular wrestler in the history of pro wrestling. Like overall, from beginning to end, like it is in you would not believe how many people come up to him whenever we're doing appearances or signings or with these cons, and how inspiring he is to so many people, how connected people are to him without even meeting him for the first time. They've had a connection because his presence oozes through the screen. But I was so proud of him for stepping out of his comfort zone and doing something different and being the Antichrist in TNA. And I loved what he did. I thought he worked hard and killed it. And once again, on a personal level, I am so proud of him because for the last 2 years, he has been a new man and he's been so dedicated and so focused and so disciplined. And, to anyone out there that hates on a Jeff Hardy now, you're wrong and you're going to continue to be wrong. And I'm so proud of where he's at and whatever he ends up doing, whatever we end up doing going forward. And we both have a lot of really cool creative ideas. I think we've got a lot of fuel left in the tank, and I'm really excited to see what the future holds for us.
Nice. And Matt, for you, you're no stranger to reinventing yourself either in TNA. The broken gimmick took over the world, I feel, at the time, the wrestling world. Also, what you were doing, it was so cool. Can you tell us about the invention of that character? And then also, did you think it was going to take off the way that it did?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you this. The year that I did Broken Matt Hardy, that was the funnest year of my career, without a doubt. And it was also very cool because a lot of times when I went to work, it was at home. So that was nice, both Jeff and I. The character originally started, I was wrestling and wrestlers had gotten smaller, they'd gotten more athletic, they'd got more acrobatic, and I was just thinking, well, we're not as young as we used to be. I've learned to change my style. Whenever I went through my phase of like trying to recreate how I'm going to wrestle, how I'm going to do things, how I'm going to take care of my body, 2011, 2012-ish, I realized that I just have to change the way I wrestle. So I said, what if we actually go back many years and I try and do a character that is like supernatural or over the top, almost a throwback to Papa Shango or the early Undertaker, and that's kind of what I was shooting for with Broken Matt Hardy. And I was very inspired by True Blood, first and foremost. I thought it's so cool how vampires, when a vampire is immortal and they live through different time periods, you see they live through different periods of fashion. They have different haircuts. They just look very different throughout their career. There's so many different recreations of these characters as vampires who are immortal beings. I said, is there any way I could kind of do that as a character, as a persona? And then I realized, obviously, you can't be immortal. I said, but what if you could be aware of your soul? If you could be cognizant of where your soul has been, and you could say, this soul has been tracking through all these different vessels, all these different bodies, and like you're aware of where your soul has been. And that was the main motivation behind starting the whole Broken Matt Hardy character.
That's so cool. And we were just getting like a glimpse of where it was, that vessel at that time. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
right.
Wow. Jeff, it looked so much fun from a fan's point of view, what you guys are doing. Do you have any thoughts on the whole broken universe?
Oh yeah, I loved every minute of it. And I'll never forget. Like I didn't know what Matt was gonna do. It reminds me like a very like a method actor type of deal. Like he just said, "I don't know, you can give me this big move, man, and then I'm just gonna dye a blonde streak in my hair and be different." And I didn't know what in the world it would become, what it was, what it is, and what it can be again. So yeah, definitely that's always going to be near and dear to my heart, man. The broken universe is there's always a portal to get back there.
I love that. Well, Jeff, can you take us back to the the final deletion compound match that you guys had. I'd love to hear from you, Matt, afterwards as well. But I feel like it really inspired what we saw going forward in wrestling. There were so many cinematic matches that happened after that, but the Broken Universe really started it off. Can you tell us about that, Jeff?
Yeah, for sure, man. As kids, we used to rent a big VHS camcorder, and make our own movies at home, and did some funny stuff, man. And it kind of reminded me of that, except we were doing this on a professional pro wrestling level, and a lot of people were going to see this, and it reminded me of that. But then working our butts off throughout the night, like just 6 people, I think, and I was running 300, 400 foot of drop cord to light up a spot. And we finished right as the sun was about to come up. So it couldn't have been it was pretty much flawless in that aspect of it. We just worked our asses off and finished right there before sunrise. And yeah, and I'll never grow tired of that. I can watch that back every day and it's like, man, and still be so proud of it.
Yeah.
The mindset we went into the final deletion and also the contract signing before that, it's just that we were trying to tell stories in a different way, trying to expand what pro wrestling is, because that's what pro wrestling ultimately ends up being. We're storytellers, we're entertainment, and you find different ways to tell stories. And like most everything in pro wrestling, move wise, in the arena wise, has been done, but you always got to find ways to put different spins on it. So we said, what if we fought on our property, and it ended up being for the property and for the Hardy brand and the Hardy name, so we had different ideas. And I, even when we got Jeff to become Brother Nero, we figured either we would become baby faces, which we did, or Jeff could kind of turn heel again, much like he did with the Antichrist back in the day. And lo and behold, we ended up being huge baby faces. And so much about the whole Broken Matt Brother Nero movement reminds me of Joe Hendry now, because it was so organic, it was so genuine, it was so authentic the way it got over, and people really generally just started sending memes to each other, and it became very gifable. It was very memeable, and that's what got it over so much, because it went viral.
Absolutely. It created so many wonderful memories for wrestling fans, definitely. And we're going to start to wind it down here. Jeff, I can't do this interview without asking you at least about one insane dive from your TNA career. I'd love to ask about what I heard you call the sketchiest Swanton that you hit on this
Yeah.
from the top of the set down below. Can you just take us through that moment?
Yeah, without a doubt, man. I don't know if I've ever shared this, but like climbing up there, I could look down and see like people watching the show at the monitor, and I just remember looking down and then looking back at where I was about to jump and go, oh my God, this really might be the end of my career. I might not get up from this. It was so scary, but fear is kind of part of the fun in moments like that, and yeah, that was definitely without a doubt the sketchiest swanton I've ever done, and I think it was 30 between 30 and 33 feet,
Insane.
somewhere in there.
That's so yeah, somewhere. Well,
Yeah.
Thank you guys both for coming on. I appreciate this. Like I said, Fayetteville, November 8th and 9th, TNA takes over. The Hardy Boys will be there. Any final words from you guys?
No, we're really excited. If you're in North Carolina, this is going to be events worth traveling to. TNA right now is white hot. A lot of great things are happening. A lot of shows are being sold out. I'm sure it's going to be a sellout. It's going to be very near a sellout. So please grab your tickets as soon as you can. And the entertainment has been off the chart by TNA. TNA really has a ton of momentum right now. And myself and Jeff, we're very happy to be part of it.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Rewind, recap, relive. For over 50 episodes, the revolutionary force in wrestling interview.